Hi, Tim Yao here, Community Pioneer in Roundhouse Park and Cringleford, and welcome to this week's edition of Cringleford Assembly. Obviously, this Sunday we are celebrating Mother's Day and all things to do with mums around the world. Did you know there were about 2 billion mothers in the world? So it's something worth celebrating. As usual, we're going to start with the track, and this one is Let It Be by the Beatles, but it's a cover by Nicole Milik from 2021. Hope you enjoy it.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
Well, that song Let It Be was written by Paul McCartney when he was working on the White Album when he was with the Beatles in 1968. And the person in question, the Mary in that, is his mum, whose name was Mary Patricia McCartney, who died in 1956 of cancer when Paul was only 14 years old. So that longing for a mother, for a parent figure to be with you again is really self-evident in that song of kind of those lyrics there. In my hour of darkness, I see you standing right in front of me. And how many of us long to be with those who are no longer with us? If you've got a mother who's sadly passed away and you had a good relationship with her, or maybe you didn't, the things you want to say to them. So Paul, in one sense, kind of lays it out for us today about mothers. They're a mixed breed, aren't they? You can have good mums and bad mums, but most mothers are somewhere in between. And how we relate to our mums, when we're when we're little, and our mums provide for all our needs, that kind of love and nurture, and then you get to your teens and it's all kicking off, and you don't want your mum around, and and eventually, hopefully, most of us get to a positive place with our own mothers. I wonder how you celebrate Mother's Day. Obviously, this year is going to be different from others with the fact that we can't get to see our parents in question unless we're in a bubble with them. For many of us, mothers, it will just be a kind of online video call, maybe a telephone call to somehow connect. I sent my mother a Mother's Day card this year. Yes, I am a good boy. But I wonder what kind of card you sent. Do you go for the cheap? The absolute cheapest of cheap, because you've got no money, or because you don't really care that much, or you just think it's commercialism gone mad? Or do you go for the cheerful, that kind of classic flowers, birds, those stereotypes of what we think mums like? Or do you go for the cheeky? And this is the card I sent my mum this year. Obviously, I don't mean it. I love her, but that kind of slightly cheekiness with our mums as we get a bit older. On Mother's Day in the UK in 2019, we spent £1.6 billion on our mothers and buying gifts and cards and things like that. Is that a lot? Is that not a lot? I don't know. But when we compare it to what in the same year was spent on Father's Days, which we only spent 653 million. So 1.6 billion to 653 million. That seems to me either we don't care about fathers so much, or we care a great more deal about our mothers. I wonder how you feel about your mother. I wonder what was your fondest memory of being mothered, because not all of us have got mums, obviously. I remember my grandma, and she's still alive. She's just moved into a home recently. But I remember when I was little and she used to look after me, my mother was working, and my fondest memory of her is that she used to allow me to snuggle up in a little ball behind her while she was watching the TV on a Sunday evening, and I would fall asleep in this little nest. I used to call it Nana's nest. It felt all warm and cozy and safe, and that was my kind of earliest memory, let's say, of being mothered. Some of us will have real negative memories of our mothers. Some of us won't know our mothers at all. But when we try and come up with the idea of what are the positive qualities of motherhood or being mothered, then the list could go on and on and on. I looked at quite a few different sites, and there was no one conclusive list. But I do think it's something about being loved and nurtured, and that kind of selfless love and the selfless giving. Obviously, that's not exclusive to females, but when we think of a caricature of a good mother, it's that kind of selfless love and nurture that comes to mind. Across different cultures and different social classes and different times and different places, the qualities of motherhood are obviously different. And that's changing and will continue to change. You know, there are still some kind of traditional mums that, let's say, that I remember from my grandma's kind of age group, but that's changing, isn't it? That is changing. I want to tell you a story that I feel sums up and resonates with me of that sense of what motherhood is about. This story is about a young mother who was crossing the mountains in South Wales, and she got caught up in a blizzard, and she was carrying a baby with her. The blizzard came in, and sadly she didn't survive. However, when their searchers went out to find her, they found that she'd taken her kind of outer garments off and wrapped it around this little baby. And the mother obviously froze to death. But when they found this little bundle inside, the baby, to their joy, was still alive and well. Now, that baby grew up to be David Lloyd George, a senior statesman in British politics. And because of his mother's selfless love and sacrifice, he survived and made a huge difference in the world. It's that kind of selfless love that makes me think of motherhood. When I think of an example of that selfless love, I can't go further than thinking about the love that Jesus had for people. In one of the stories, as he was coming towards the end of his life, he was moved to grief and sorrow as he came and looked upon the city of Jerusalem. And he looked down across the valley, and he was overcome with emotion. And he used these words. He says, "Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how I long to gather you under my wings like a mother hen." There was that sense of mothering within him. Yes, I know, to be a mother, you don't have to be kind of biologically create a child. You know, there are lots of kind of parents who adopt children, but also I don't think you necessarily have to be a female. There is something about mothering, wanting to love and nurture, that kind of selfless love. And for me, Jesus sums that up by the whole way he lived his life, of living his life for others. You know, Jesus, in the end, he gave up his life, and we celebrate that and remember that at Easter. And it wasn't an end, because there was more. There was that selfless love led to life for many, many more people. And his legacy lives on today. I wonder, for you, when you think of your mothers, or being mothered anyway by people around you, I wonder how you are going to show your appreciation, your love and your gratitude to those people around you who've showed you great selfless love over the ages and over the time. And I wonder if there's ways that you too could show some of that selfless love this Mothering Sunday. Well, that's it for Cringleford Assembly this week. And if I don't see you soon, I'll see you next time. Bye.